7th. Welcome to the Plant-Based Morning Show. I said it yesterday and I'll say it again. It's the morning show for plant-based people. That's how we are branding this thing, as if we needed some sort of branding. And Doug's going to be joining me in just a second here. Always the delay. Let's see what to talk about in the meantime. There's Doug. Sorry, I'm getting text from our marketing guy. All kinds of people sending me stuff right now. All right, Doug is coming in, and we've got a fun show planned. We have special guest Robbie Lockey from PlantBased News, which is very much fun because we always talk about vegan news sites. We'd be nothing without the vegan news sites to talk about every single day. They're doing all our content work for us, Doug. All we need to do is interpret. Yeah, they really do. All we do is just say dumb stuff. It's going very well. How about you, Doug? Yeah? Yes. We are. Our house is ready. We've still not carved pumpkins. I think we might not be carving pumpkins this year. If I have my way, I haven't managed. I've managed to not do it for about 3 years in a row. The kids like it, but somehow I always get out of it. But we have 2 pumpkins in front of our house. I don't know if we're going to carve them or not. I honestly don't really care if we do. But our neighborhood, we talked about this on No Meat Athlete Radio. Our neighborhood, the decorations are insane. Directly across the street from where I do this show every day, I can stare, and there are 4 or 5 tombstones with skeletons coming out of the ground, arms and heads visible. Another one that sort of waves at the street, a ghost hanging. I mean, it's just crazy. And then the 25-foot skeletons that I realized cost like $500 or $1,000 in the store.
Yeah.
There's like a witch broom illusion thing where there's a big cauldron and there's a stick that comes out of it and there's a witch. It looks like flying, defying the laws of physics. That's a popular one. You've mentioned the cargo net kind of thing. It used to be an American Gladiators prop. Now it's a Halloween
with the giant spider.
Yes.
Yeah. I still have yet to actually see one of these large skeletons in person. I think maybe in a private conversation or something that I saw some on Instagram, and I thought that was the craziest thing I'd ever seen. But apparently people are using them in your neighborhood, not so much in mine. My daughter, she is obsessed with decorations for all holidays. Halloween being no exception, and she's been endlessly disappointed that we have not decked our house out in all of the all of the fun holiday.
Yeah, that's it's not a great dad move, Doug. You need to. I know. I mean, I know you're a minimalist and everything, but sometimes you got to take one for the team, the family, and do something for the kids, not just for yourself.
We are carving pumpkins this weekend, so
okay. We'll do you have some sort of pumpkin seed situation plan that you're gonna cook them up?
She actually did that at school and brought them home yesterday, and they were delicious. I mean, I like doing that.
Were they really delicious? Were they really delicious, or were they just sort of like passable? Like we've salvaged something.
They were covered in salt and stuff, so it reminded me of my favorite snack, corn chips.
But they're very fibrous and they're hard to eat, and they're not worth it.
They are hard to eat. Yep.
Anyway, Carly from Plant U did a scrappy cooking on Instagram about pumpkin seeds, and I watched that, and it seemed pretty good. And then I saw, I think Veg News has like a jokey pumpkin carving article up that is just sort of just irony jokes. And then they tell you how to actually make pumpkin seeds. They also have a Halloween candy thing up, which I think we'll get to. Probably save that one for Halloween, talking about vegan Halloween candy.
Yep.
But we're loaded up. My wife notoriously buys way too much Halloween candy, and we're always left with tons of it, and then we got to return it or eat it or whatever. But I've been it's one of those things we'll never agree on. But must have too much Halloween candy seems to be one of the.
I think we're gonna be the Apple House this year.
Oh no! Don't do that.
No, I'm just kidding.
Good. Okay, that would be bad. I think we actually are a pretzel house this year. I saw a lot of bags of mini bags of pretzels.
All right, that's not bad.
So I assume that's what it's for. All right. So anyway, Doug, we mentioned Robbie's going to be joining us in a few minutes. That should be fun. Looking into getting into some plant-based news headlines from plant-based news, which we often do anyway. But got a special slate today, and we'll talk a little bit about. We've got the sweepstakes that we've partnered with them on. Correct, Doug?
That's right. Yes. Yeah, we have been working with Plant-Based News on something that we're calling the Ultimate Plant-Based Vacation for 2. This is the Paradise Sweepstakes. We're giving away a full.
There's all these words we can't say. I'm terrified to talk about this because if I say the bad words, we get fined or something, or I don't know what happens.
Oh no, no. There's none of that.
Can't say the G word. Can't say the thing that implies that all your food and drinks are just unlimited quantities. Can't say that word. It's like Super Bowl. You can't say the words.
Yeah.
The big game.
But it is an awesome. So you say this is a trip to Mexico, to a resort down in Mexico, a wellness resort that specializes in plant-based cuisine. They have 5 different restaurants that are predominantly plant-based. It is absolutely incredible. One of our colleagues went down there last week, and oh man, I would love this. So we're giving it away. If you go to lovecompliment.com, then you can get all the details there. But it's gonna be really cool. So Dale, sorry I can't pick you on here, but you can enter by going to Love Compliment.
Yeah, and if you write that you're a morning show subscriber, you may get some sort of special.
Oh, there you
treatment.
go. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
No, I probably can't say that either, right?
No, I don't think so.
It's probably way worse than the other ones, actually. So you will not get any special treatment for being a morning show person. In fact, you'll be ineligible to win if you're a family member or too close a friend. So don't mention the morning show. Look, I'm digging a hole here. I'm ruining the contest.
Yes, you absolutely are. So why don't we get to a headline?
Okay, let's do it. So we always usually start off the show with just goofy fake meat newses, with new thing in Walmart, whatever, Unmeat, Omni, whatever one's next, luncheon meats. But today we've got some good stuff. We have actual health benefits of a plant-based diet, Doug, which is oddly, that's sort of rare for us. Two big ones caught my eye recently. First, this is from WebMD, which not the most trustworthy of sources for sure, but getting omega-3s from plants may help heart failure patients. And this is from a study published in the Journal of American College of Cardiology. The interesting thing about this one is it talks about alpha-linolenic acid, which is ALA, the most common of the omega-3s as far as plant-based eaters go, the easiest one to get because it's in walnuts and flax seeds and lots of things that are plants.
Yeah.
Predominantly. I think it's pretty much in plant seeds. It's like where you get it. It's not really found in animal products as far as I know. DHA and EPA are the tougher ones to get. Animals and fish get them from algae, but people often get them from fish where, got it from the algae. Of course, we sell the complement product, which provides omega-3s, DHA and EPA from algae. So you go right to the source, and they're super important. And a lot of people think that just getting omega-3s means you're getting those, and you're not. So we always have this pitch. We always talk about the story about how you have to get the DHA and EPA special. So it's actually kind of interesting that there's an article here that's like talking about ALA specifically, the one that a lot of plant-based eaters are getting plenty of, and saying that it is a very, very protective thing against heart failure. First of all, against hospital visits that result from heart failure, and also from deaths from people who are in the hospital for heart failure. And they said the most striking finding is the clear difference between patients in the bottom 25%, the lowest ALA levels, and compared to the other 75%, the highest ALA levels. There's a drastic difference between their rates of death and hospitalizations. I don't have those exact stats in front of me what the difference is, but it's enough to be headline worthy. And it's funny, Doug, because you and I were just talking the other day about ranges for where you should be with different omega-3 levels, and we were saying that like there's sort of the average level, and if you're below that, you're in the risk factor level, and if you're above that, you're actually in the cardioprotective level, and that goes for DHA, EPA, and ALA. In this case, again, they're just looking at ALA, but it goes to show you if you have enough of that stuff, it actually becomes a cardioprotective factor. And like I said, it's not in animal products. It's predominantly in plant sources: chia seeds, pumpkin seeds, walnuts, soy foods, canola oil, seaweed, edamame, and kidney beans. All good sources of ALA.
My favorite quote from this study or from this article is quote, "There's no evidence harmful effect of one daily serving of walnuts." And I'm like, who's out there like saying like stay away from the walnuts? Like one daily serving.
I think people are out there saying that nuts are horrible for you and that they're going to make you fat and they're going to give you heart disease. Remember in the Esselstyn original study group and his old guidelines, heart disease patients, he says don't eat nuts. And I think a lot of people now have questioned that, and I don't even know, maybe he's even softened on that. I'm not sure. But nuts are, they're like the most controversial food, I think, as far as like the polarizing factor, right? The number of people that say nuts is an incredible life prolonging food, which is, I say that. And those who say it's going to make you fat and give you a heart attack.
Yeah.
So that is the ALA good news. And there's another one caught my eye from CBS News, big mainstream site, of course. Plant-based diet helps cool hot flashes, study suggests. And this one, they're looking at women suffering from hot flashes, I believe postmenopausal women. Yep. And a plant-based diet rich in soy, a low-fat plant-based diet rich in soy, could improve moderate to severe hot flashes by as much as 88%, on par or perhaps even better than hormone replacement therapy.
Mm.
And honestly, that's all there is to the article. Well, it also helped help participants lose an average of 8 pounds and improve their quality of life. So great to get no spin news like that from a mainstream source, not
Yeah.
questioning soy or anything like that. They didn't do that. Um, but I really love when we hear about the plant based diet being or any food, real honestly, being as powerful as medicine or
Right.
more powerful than. I don't know about hormone replacement therapy. I don't know what that involves, but it just sounds like an extreme measure. It's probably not as extreme as that. It just sounds like a high tech kind of thing. And if
Sure.
all you get to do is eat plants and you get the same or better benefits, it's a win-win as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. And this was, I feel like it was big news because it did make the mainstream. And so much so that even someone sent us a link at the beginning of this chat here to a story, to this story from a different source. So
Oh, okay.
I think this is good. And this is really good. It's, and it's different than the plant-based diet is good for the climate, or a plant-based diet is good for weight loss or something like that. It's a different type of story. And so anything like this, I think is positive.
Yeah, of course. What I need, Doug, is a plant-based diet is good for what's that thing called that I have? Plantar fasciitis. Because now I'm wearing my Hokas around the house.
Oh, really?
That was Erin's advice. She said that's what you need to do is wear shoes around with a built-up heel, lots of
Hmm.
cushioning, and soon I'm going to be having heel cups and all kinds of just like feels like
Wow.
old man supplies that you just like need to have to walk around the house and not hurt yourself. Uh,
I got a walker. My neighbor has one. If you need to borrow one,
I've never in my life had to use crutches. I had an air cast at one point when I got the stretch fracture thing, but never have I used crutches. I wouldn't know how to use them the right way. So hopefully I can keep not using those. Uh, all right, last bit from the comments here. People talking about nuts. Even at Chef AJ suggests staying away, says Mr. Jeffrey, our recent MVP viewer. And Erin is fielding the Chef AJ questions. She says Chef AJ cautions nuts mainly for caloric density. That is true. Erin is a Chef AJ devotee, or at least was. So we're big fans. Okay, Doug, should we bring on Robbie now? Are we at that point in our
I
show
think
plan?
so. Let's bring on. We got some fun articles, but we gotta dive into the plant-based meat stuff with Robbie, and then of course a little bit lighter articles as well. So this will be fun.
Okay. I'm hitting accept buttons on all platforms. Robbie, you're now on the multi-stream, but nobody watches on multi-stream. Let's be honest. Oh, sexfind.xyz does. That was our friend from yesterday. A different one.
Oh,
Private
more.
dating chat girls is their response to
All
what
right.
we've talked about so far. So that's helpful.
Hello.
Okay, there we go. Robbie's here. How's it going?
Oh, how we seem, you guys are freezing up. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, okay.
Hey.
Got you now. Yep. Sorry about that. It seems like that
Yeah,
always
okay.
happens. The guest is silent for a few seconds for some reason. We don't know what that has to do.
Yeah, while the magic happens while the gremlins in the background make things happen.
Yes, exactly. So anyway, yeah, thanks so much for joining us. As we said at the top of the show, I think you were listening. It's an honor because you're 1/3 of our content production team. I don't know if you realize that. So
I did not.
without these vegan news heads, we'd have nothing to talk about, and we could certainly not do a daily show. So that's the first thank you that we owe you. If you are just joining us, if you're coming in from Plant-Based News, which of course you are, because our attendance is like 20 times higher than it's ever been. We do the show every day at 11 a.m. Eastern on No Meat Athlete _official. And we got a podcast, the Plant-Based Morning Show, wherever you listen to podcasts. That actually gets much more of our action. So check that out wherever you listen to podcasts. But anyway, Robbie, so here's my question to you, because in the past 2 months that we've been doing this show every day, have kind of started to like figure out an identity of each of the vegan news sites. Whereas before I didn't, I would see them on Instagram and I'd just click something and go read it. But now I sort of understand where each one fits, at least in my eyes. So I'm just curious from your perspective, like how do you categorize? I mean, where do you put plant-based news, first of all? Like, what's the niche you've carved out within the niche? And then what do you think of the beet and veg news? Like, not what do you think of them, but like how do you,
We're starting a war here.
how do you sort of pigeonhole them? Like, where do you I don't know, like what's their content like compared to yours?
Same. Ooh.
Ah. Very interesting. So I had definitely identified the one as far as the breadth of the content to me that you focus that you go into animal rights stuff much more than the others do. I mean, they'll mention it, but they don't have as many articles as you do about it. And the other thing, which I've mentioned on this show before, I have this pet peeve. I don't like when the vegan sites will refuse to report any sort of bad news about the plant-based diet or anything that might look bad. It just sometimes it just feels like a lot of spin where and then that makes me not be able to trust some of the stuff that I want to trust because I think, well, they're hiding that from some people. Like then, I'm not calling out specific ones, but plant-based news never does this. I mean, like the article we have today, honestly, the next one we want to talk about, and we might as well go right into it, is South Africa meat CEO says plant-based products could confuse consumers. That's a topic we've been talking about a lot in the past few weeks, including yesterday with what's going on in France. But I just love that you're willing to put a headline there without saying that is wrong, right? That is wrong that he says plant-based products could confuse consumers because it's a fact that's what he says. So I just appreciate that, and I appreciate, of course, the work that you do. So on that, let's jump into that one. We've talked a lot about in France and how there's these new rules that will aim to prevent plant-based foods, plant-based meat products from being called things that could potentially, in the eyes of the producers, be confusing to the consumer. Things like sausage, burger, tenderloin, and what we've kind of determined by looking, believe it or not, we do a tiny bit of research. We found out that the legal precedent seems to be, at least in the United States, that it's okay to say these terms as long as you're also saying things like vegan, plant-based, because a reasonable consumer would not be expected to only read one word like sausage and then just disregard everything else. So it seemed to me that things were sort of headed in that way. But this one, it's from Peter Gordon. He appeared on the South African show Carte Blanche, watched by 200,000 people, and he came on and said that they believe they do, in fact, that these words confuse the consumer, and that there are laws that are in the works that will ban plant-based products from being labeled with descriptors like meatball, sausage, or biltong. What is a biltong? Does anyone?
Oh, okay.
Okay, so that's okay,
Yeah.
great.
I mean, it's
So
important to note here the CEO is the CEO of South African meat processors. Yeah.
of
Right.
course,
Yeah, of course. Mm.
Hmm. Very
Yeah,
interesting. Go
I
ahead, Doug.
completely agree. You know, what I keep going back to is there's not one type of even meat burger or meat sausage. You know, there's turkey burgers, there's beef burgers, there's, you know, all these different types of things, and people are accustomed to looking at what type of sausage they're getting or what type of meat burger they're getting, and so to just throw plant-based or vegan in front of it is not really any different than throwing the type of animal that you're using.
Yep, and I can vouch for you there, Doug. You absolutely do keep going back to that. I've heard you say
I
that
keep
quite a
saying
number
it
of
every
times from
time
you. Uh,
because it's
so,
true.
and I do appreciate, Robbie, the way you're saying it. I haven't heard it put that way, and that's very interesting. That really these things are kind of about they're describing a shape and a texture of an animal or perhaps a plant. What about though, like, because I think some of the words that have been controversial are things like I said, like tenderloin. That I actually don't know. Like, does a human have a tenderloin, or is that only if we're talking about eating something? Does it have a tenderloin? I uh, right. Yep.
I hope that that is changing though, and it seems to be some of the. Do you remember, Matt? Do you remember who, which company it was that their deli slices, their vegan deli slices, are they're requiring them the grocery stores to put them in the deli section, you know, and underneath
I think
uh,
Unreal Deli may have been part of that, although I see
Unreal.
them in the
Yeah,
plant based, so I don't know if that's true, but maybe they're headed that way. Yeah, and there's
uh,
another one. I don't know.
yeah. I mean, I hope that we are not that far from a time when right alongside the beef burgers or the deli slices of, you know, of ham is a plant based option that you can just see and pick up, and you know, be a lot more seamless for people who are not vegan, but or maybe just choosing those options sometimes.
By the way, the people on Facebook are saying they couldn't hear me. I've just unmuted myself
Yes,
over there
good.
because I was worried. I was worried about there being like double sound, but hopefully it's fine.
Yeah, do you have headphones on by chance? I don't actually can't tell.
I don't, but no, not for my iPhone because it's charging.
Okay. I think we'll be fine then. Don't worry about it. I don't hear
Okay, all
any
right. So
echo on.
Yeah,
apologies to
I'm good.
everyone if there's a nasty echo. Let us know.
Yeah, that's what we get for trying to multi-stream and do Instagram at the same time when they don't go together. But we're trying to bring this to the masses, so
Yes.
can't apologize too much for that. Okay, good. Well, this topic we will keep covering this stuff as the news breaks, or as plant-based news breaks the news. We will then interpret it and tell you about it. Uh, so next one we wanted to get to, not entirely changing direction here. This is about alcohol-free beer, which happens to be another topic that we've been happen to talk to for a long time, honestly, on this show and on No Meat Athlete Radio. And there are a lot of parallels between alcohol-free beers and animal-free meats. There are a lot of things about like people complaining that it's not quite the same, and therefore they're not going to do it, even though it's like 99% the same. So there are some things we've come up with. But you guys, you've produced, or Amy Buxton, I guess that at your organization has written this one, Cutting Down on the Booze. Try these vegan alcohol-free beers. You got some tips there about which ones to try and what would make beers non-vegan, and also why do alcohol-free beer in the first place. And then a big list of breweries. Many of them I have not heard of before. Admittedly, I don't know that many of the breweries. It seems like everyone's always shouting out athletic brewing when we bring this up in this country. I don't think that one's on your list, which I was surprised by, but I'm guessing that's an American-centric kind of company. What you do have are Days Brewing, the Free From Beer Co., Divine Brewing, San Miguel, which is a much bigger brewery than many of the other ones, Heineken, another big one, of course, Stella Artois, one of the most famous beers in the world, the Big Drop Brewing Company. And Doug and I always talk about Guinness. Guinness's alcohol-free offering is a great one. I think, Doug, you have not yet tried it.
I have not.
But I love that one, and I confirm that it is vegan. It is not vegan certified, or not certified vegan. I honestly, that's not something that I've ever paid that much attention to, but it is made, using vegan processes or vegan ingredients and without animal ingredients. And then a quick Googling for me said that Sam Adams, sort of the same thing. They just said, yes, vegan friendly, but I couldn't find like any sort of certification or anything saying that. So, I don't know, Robbie, do you indulge in any of these alcohol-free beers or any alcohol beers?
I'm actually mostly alcohol-free, so you'll be pleased to hear that I'm a great subject for these products. It's only recently that I've been mostly alcohol-free. I've found just my performance and my kind of brain power is quite negatively affected by alcohol. I get a lot of like chronic pain and joint pain if I do drink. That being said, if I'm with friends or family, I'm not shy about having, a glass of wine or a beer or something, though I have to have a gluten-free beer because I'm not celiac, but I'm quite sensitive to gluten, unfortunately. Another challenge, not only being vegan, but being gluten-free as well. It can be a little challenging at times when you go to houses and they say, oh my goodness, you're vegan.
Yeah,
oh no,
but you're really popular for dinner parties.
What am I going to cook for you? Yeah. But I have
Can you do gluten reduced, where they just add the enzyme and it like reduces most of the gluten, or you need fully gluten free?
I would say like most of the gluten. So I'm not a celiac. So I don't get like terrible allergic reactions, but I do get chronic pain and loads of other issues from gluten itself, or any beers or breads or pastas that contain it. But I have been, trying and enjoying a lot of these beers on this list, and it's actually been incredible having an alcohol-free beer that actually tastes like regular alcohol beer, and has all the flavor as well. And it's strange. It has an unusual like placebo effect of making you feel like you're drinking alcohol. And after 2 or 3 of them, you actually feel a bit drunk, even though there's no alcohol.
Well, there is that less than 0.5%. So after 3, you're up to 1.5%. So who knows?
Right.
Maybe if you don't drink much, that's starting to hit you. But no, I hear you. You're right about that, and I think that's what we're after. Really, is just that feeling of what it feels like to be at a party drinking a beer, more than the drinking of the beer. Honestly, if to me, I don't know if this is true. I wish I had a way of testing this. Maybe I do. I honestly think I like the beer for the taste. I feel like the alcohol is an unnecessary part of it, but there is that, like, I still, if I know that it's not alcohol, it's like it doesn't quite do it for me. Like I need to be tricked and believe that it actually is. So
I don't think you'd be able to tell, honestly, Matt. Like some of these beers
right.
are so good. I've drunk them and really questioned whether they have alcohol or not. A friend handed me one without the bottle, and I was someone says in the comments alcohol is toxic, and I can't remember who it was recently. Somebody said no amount of alcohol is good for you, and actually any amount causes some level of damage to your body. That being said,
that's actually in the article. That's in your article, and we did a whole podcast on it. That there is no safe level of drinking, according to.
But I do advocate for personal choice, and health is a personal choice. I don't want to food shame. We at PBN, we don't food shame anyone. Like at the end of the day, we will provide information for people to become aware of the effects of food and alcohol on their bodies, and that people should be able to make their own choices when it comes to the things that they consume. Because if you're an adult and you're over 18 in this country or 21 in the US, you are entitled to drink if you so choose.
I like it. I really appreciate the non-shame attitude. That is awesome. We have a question from Nikki Veg, I guess, Nikki VGE. If non-alcoholic beer is considered beer, then why not plant milks can't be named milks? So I think that's just making the point that we talked about in the previous article,
Right.
and saying, look at this example. So someone should take that to South Africa meat CEO Peter Gordon and say, look at all these beers, and we're
Dear
calling
Mr.
them
Meat Boss, try some alcohol-free beer.
exactly. So anyway, I wish I could get a hold of the San Miguel beer, because that is a Spanish beer that I have enjoyed there. And in my experience, like, although these new ones, the Guinness, the Sam Adams, just the haze, that's the one that Doug and I like, the hazy IPA style non-alcoholic beer. Although these are really good, and they're the first time to me that these different styles have actually tasted good. Like the just light crisp lager, to me that's a simple one to make alcohol free, and
Sure.
you don't really compromise anything. So those are really good. There's a beer called Stray something in Spanish or in Spain that I've had an alcohol free version of, and it's great. I really do enjoy that. So
it's huge amongst Gen Z, isn't it? Like generations, who
Right.
are really kind of focusing on personal health and personal well-being more than ever before. That being said, the older generation, specifically in the United States, I spoke to Dr. Michael Greger at the Animal and Vegan Advocacy Summit this last week, and he was saying for the first time in history, life expectancy is going backwards in the United States because of lifestyle choices, because of what people are eating and quite possibly drinking as well, and maybe smoking too. So there's hope that the younger generations are, seeing this and seeing the illness and ill health, and are focusing on health and wellness. Probably why the biggest adopters of plant-based diets age-wise are the younger, the under 25s.
Yep, I've definitely observed in my own life that younger generation, that more of them than my friends don't drink, and it's such a strange thing to me that someone just doesn't drink at that age, because when I was growing up, it just was like everyone did. It's just what she did. So it's very cool that it's happening. In your article, Robbie, I mean not yours, but Amy's on PBN, it's the second sentence or third sentence. Teetotalism is a growing movement with Gen Z in particular, championing a transition towards clean, sober fun. I actually had not. I know the phrase teetotaling. I thought that meant like being a Bible beater sort of person and saying anything good is bad for you. Is that the actual name for like straight edge or for alcohol freeness or anything, or is it just? I just didn't know that was the name for it.
Yes, yeah, to be teetotal. I'm not sure of the etymology of teetotal, but yes, that is what we call it. It's a way of like having fun without relying on intoxicants, you might say, because I would say all people who are teetotal, they don't consume drugs either of any sort, either legal or illegal. Right. There are people who don't consume any kind of mind altering substances.
So I think in the U.S. that's called straight edge, right? Among the punk community, yeah. So figure that perfect example of our cultures, right? The British call it teetotalism, we call it straight edge.
Yeah, like some of the comments said, someone who drinks just tea, teetotalism.
Maybe, except it's TEE, but who knows? That's possible, and would fit with the British stereotype.
Yeah, exactly. I think we need to get teetotalism into the Urban Dictionary ASAP.
Agreed. All right, cool. Well, Doug, talk a minute about this sweepstakes that we have partnered with PlantBased News on, and then Rob, well, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, we partnered with PlantBased News to give away 2 trips, really, to Palmaya wellness resort in Mexico. It is a full-on wellness resort, eco spa on the coast, on the beach. It's absolutely stunningly beautiful. And they have 5 predominantly plant-based restaurants. So this is the perfect getaway for anyone who is plant-based or mostly plant-based. You can go to lovecompliment.com to enter, and it's going to be really cool. It's going to be really fun for whoever wins it. And there's different levels of prizes. So you should definitely check that out. Also, if you're new here, be sure to, we do this every day at 11 o'clock, and you can join it's also a podcast. So you can go to iTunes and subscribe to the podcast. Anything else? I have one more question for Robbie, Matt, but anything else you want to plug?
No, I never plug things, Doug. That's not why I do this show. I do the show for the people.
For the people, that's right. Robbie, thank you again so much for joining us. Before you go, I'm just curious, like, is there one thing right now that's happening in the plant-based world that you are most excited about? Because, I mean, you follow this closer than probably anybody else.
What am I most excited about? I'm most excited about something that actually isn't technically plant-based. It's called precision fermentation, and it's a technology that's going to allow us to create dairy products and many other forms of protein as well using microbes. We can essentially use the power of microbes or program microbes to produce animal-free food. So it'll be all the animal products that people like to consume without the cruelty and the environmental impact. Of course, the health side of things is in question because obviously you're still consuming something that is animal-like, and all us whole food plant-based advocates will know that it's not necessarily the healthiest choice if people continue to eat animal products, especially in excess. As far as like specifically plant-based on its own, I'm just excited to see the explosion of innovation. Someone just mentioned in the comments GMO. GMO is a whole another podcast we could talk about.
Oh yeah.
I don't want to dive into the weeds on that, but on the plant-based side, I'm just super excited to see so many people getting involved in plant-based innovation and vegan and plant-based food tech. You're just seeing more and more businesses and huge amounts of money being invested in the likes of, Miyoko's Creamery, it's the Miyoko Shina, the incredible plant-based and vegan butter cheese range. There's a fantastic product called Kindle. They had like $100 million investment. It's just so great to see so much financial support being given to plant-based food products and plant-based innovation. So it just shows how the market for these things is really, really stable, despite what the meat industry might tell you. You're seeing a lot of media out there saying that people are losing interest in plant-based products, but I think that is more economic. There's a cost of living crisis that's spreading across the planet. People are tightening their belts. People are spending less money on processed foods. But the signs are all still looking positive. More and more people are getting involved in these types of businesses. We're constantly having people reach out to us with their new products and services that they are launching. So despite there being recessions, I'm pleased to say there are still a lot of very, very courageous entrepreneurs out there, like flying the flag for the plant-based and vegan space. And of course, all the precision fermentation stuff, which is technically not plant-based, but it is, in my opinion, vegan. It's animal-free. We're going to see a huge shift towards different types of food sources. So we'll have people consuming regular animal products. There'll be plant-based and vegan, plant-based products, purely plant-based products. Then there'll be animal-free products, which will be precision fermentation, and then cultured meat products or cultured food products as well. So there'll be lots of new types of food coming in the future. It's going to be a bit of a challenge trying to convince the consumer that these products are safe and that they are, if you consume them, you're not going to grow an extra arm or leg, because there's a lot of fear around foodstuffs that are engineered by human beings. But I know I wouldn't personally eat them, but I know the people who would, and who've said to me they would rather consume these products than consume something that's made in a factory farm where an animal has to suffer terribly and loaded with antibiotics and various other chemicals and toxins and PCBs. So that's going to be the narrative really that we're going to focus on, that if people do want to consume animal products, that they should choose these animal-free foods because they're going to be much more environmentally friendly and hopefully healthier. But we'll see. The jury is still out on all of that.
Yeah, awesome. I'd love to talk to you more about that. And you're going to come back on World Vegan Day, right? November 1st to do another one of these.
Yes, I will see you. I definitely will see you then.
Good. So we'll plan a few articles around precision fermentation and cultured meat and 3D printed salmon and whatever else, and we'll get into some of those issues that you have raised there, because that's what we talk about most of the time, albeit in a far, I think, a less educated manner. Doug, would you say?
yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. So I really appreciate the input. This has been a fun show. By the way, a commenter, a hermit on the dance floor, says the TEE in teetotaler likely refers to temperance activists, because it was the temperance movement, which was about not drinking, who were totally opposed to alcohol with a capital T, or TEE. And I guess the capital just sort of emphasized the extremity of the position. So that's that. It sounds on good authority like that's what it means. We don't know for sure, but that's likely what it means according to this commenter. So thank you.
Amazing.
Okay, Doug, I don't think we need to do anymore. I think we should wrap it up here because this has been good, and I think it would be a tough act to follow. So why don't we just wrap it up here? Robbie, thank you so much for joining us and your support on the sweepstakes. And look forward to doing this again on November 1st.
My absolute pleasure. Before I go, if I wouldn't mind just plugging the plant-based treaty the T-shirt that I'm wearing.
Nice,
so if anyone who hasn't heard about the plant-based treaty, please do check it out. It's a global movement asking people to bring their support to transforming our entire food system to a plant-based economy, wherever you are, whether it's your council, your city. So please do check out the plant-based treaty. Just Google plant-based treaty and you'll find out more about it.
Are you involved, or is Plant-Based News involved in the Plant-Based Treaty? We've been talking about it.
Yeah.
Yes,
didn't
we
know
are.
if-
Yes, we are.
You
we
are okay. Cool.
supporters and advocates, and it's a really important conversation to be had.
Awesome.
Very cool. I had
Very
no
cool.
idea, but that's great. And yeah, like Doug said, we talk about that fairly often. So
Amazing.
a lot of overlap here. All right. Well,
Great.
thanks everyone for attending. Thanks Robbie for co-hosting with us.
My pleasure.
And we'll see everyone tomorrow. And then Robbie will see you again on November 1st.
See you next time.
All right.
All right.
Thanks a lot.
Bye.